Barry Bonds is a name that transcends baseball, evoking both admiration and controversy. He is widely recognized as one of the greatest players in Major League Baseball, MLB, history, having redefined what it means to be an elite hitter. His numbers are impressive: 762 career home runs, 7 MVP awards, and a skill that made any pitcher hesitate when facing him. However, his legacy is equally marked by controversies that question the legitimacy of his achievements, casting a shadow over what should have been one of the most glorious careers in the sport. But who is Barry Bonds really? An incomparable baseball genius or a symbol of the imperfections of modern sports? I'm Alder Santos, and welcome to our channel, Legends of Baseball. At the height of his career, Bonds was an unstoppable force. Stadiums filled to watch his monumental home runs, and he turned ordinary games into spectacles of pure skill and power. However, while applauded for his accomplishments, he also became a polarizing figure, especially after being linked to the steroid scandal that rocked the world of baseball. Is it fair to question an athlete who achieved excellence like never before? Or are these accusations just part of a system that loves to create and destroy idols? This duality is what makes Barry Bonds' story so fascinating and complex. Watch this video until the end and share your opinion in the comments. Do you think Barry Bonds should be remembered as the greatest hitter in history? Or do the controversies surrounding his career tarnish his legacy? We want to know what you think about this baseball legend. But it's not just about the numbers or controversies. It's about how a player, seemingly destined for greatness from birth, faced the pressures of carrying an iconic name in the sport while becoming one of the most criticized and analyzed athletes in history. Bonds' journey goes beyond statistics. It raises deep questions about ethics in sports, the fight for recognition, and the fine line that separates genius from controversy. Get ready to dive into a narrative that goes far beyond the bases, exploring the cultural, emotional, and sporting impact of one of the most intriguing figures in global baseball. Barry Bonds is a name that is deeply etched in baseball history, both for the records he broke and the controversies that marked his career. Playing most of his career for the San Francisco Giants, Bonds redefined what it means to be an elite hitter, but he also faced an avalanche of criticism due to steroid allegations. His journey is a fascinating blend of sporting glory and controversies that continue to be discussed to this day. Barry Lamar Bonds was born on July 24, 1964, in Riverside, California. The son of Bobby Bonds, a renowned Major League Baseball player, Barry grew up surrounded by baseball. From a young age, he showed impressive athletic abilities and a discipline that suggested a bright future in the sport. During his college years at Arizona State University, Bonds continued to impress as a baseball player. He excelled both offensively and defensively, catching the attention of MLB scouts. In 1985, he was selected by the Pittsburgh Pirates in the first round of the MLB draft. His professional debut in 1986 with the Pirates marked the beginning of a career that would transform the history of baseball. It quickly became clear that Bonds had unique talent. His combination of power at the plate, defensive skill, and base running speed made him a complete player. Barry Bonds stood out in Pittsburgh, but it was in 1993, when he joined the San Francisco Giants, that he truly began his rise to legendary status. Wearing the Giants uniform, he not only elevated the team's performance, but also broke records that seemed impossible to achieve. Between 2001 and 2004, Bonds achieved extraordinary feats that cemented his place as one of the greatest hitters in history. During this period, he won 4 consecutive National League MVP awards, an achievement never done before. The year 2001 was especially significant for Barry Bonds. He set a historic record of 73 home runs in a single season, surpassing the previous mark of 70 home runs set by Mark McGwire in 1998. This achievement placed him at the center of attention and controversy. Bonds was known for his patience at the plate. He received a record number of walks throughout his career, including 120 intentional walks in 2004, proof of how fearful pitchers were when facing him. While his on-field achievements were extraordinary, Bonds' career was marred by controversies involving performance-enhancing substances. He was mentioned in the Balco scandal, which investigated steroid use by elite athletes. The impact of these allegations was significant. Many questioned the legitimacy of his records, and his relationship with the media and fans became tense. Despite this, his numbers remain unmatched in MLB history. In 2007, Bonds broke the record for most career home runs, surpassing Hank Aaron's 755 home runs. With 762 career home runs, he became the greatest home run hitter in MLB history. Barry Bonds' relationship with San Francisco fans was one of the most special of his career. Despite the criticism and controversies, he remained a local hero and a beloved figure at AT&T Park. In addition to his home runs, Bonds was also known for his base stealing ability. Throughout his career, he stole 514 bases, a mark that reinforced his versatility as a player. Defensively, Bonds was one of the best of his generation. He won 8 Gold Glove awards, a testament to his excellence as an outfielder. His discipline and preparation were legendary. Bonds spent hours training, perfecting his batting technique, and studying opposing pitchers. Off the field, Bonds was a reserved and often controversial figure. His relationship with the media was turbulent, but his teammates often highlighted his commitment and leadership qualities. In 2008, Barry Bonds announced his retirement. His departure from the field marked the end of an era in baseball, but the discussions about his legacy continue to this day. Barry Bonds' impact on baseball is undeniable. He redefined the game for a generation of fans and players, raising the bar for future hitters. In 2022, Bonds was inducted into the Hall of Fame, but did not receive enough votes to be elected. The decision reignited debates about the influence of controversies on his eligibility. Despite this, many consider Barry Bonds one of the greatest players of all time, regardless of the doping allegations. His skill and impact on the game are unquestionable. Bonds' legacy can also be seen in his influence on the next generation of players. Many modern hitters cite his approach to the game as inspiration, especially his ability to observe and analyze opposing pitchers. Barry Bonds wasn't just a power hitter. He had exceptional control of the strike zone, something few players could match. His precision at the plate was a reflection of his intelligence and dedication to the game. At his peak, Bonds was a spectacle. Stadiums filled to watch his monumental home runs, and he was often the target of unique defensive strategies, like the famous Barry Bonds shift, to try and contain his offensive productivity. Despite criticism of his behavior off the field, Bonds was always respected by his teammates. Many of them highlighted his work ethic as one of the main reasons for his enduring success. Barry Bonds' cultural impact goes beyond baseball. He became a polarizing figure, but also a symbol of excellence and controversy, reflecting the complexities of modern professional sports. His contributions to San Francisco baseball are especially notable. Bonds helped put the Giants on the map as an MLB powerhouse, and his presence at AT&T Park was one of the factors that propelled the team's popularity in the 2000s. Barry Bonds remains active in the baseball community, sharing his knowledge and experience with new players. His unique perspective on the game makes him a valuable voice for future generations. For many, the debate about Barry Bonds boils down to one question: to what extent should an athlete's achievements be valued if there are suspicions of using banned substances? This question continues to spark heated debates among fans and experts. Regardless of the controversies, Barry Bonds is undoubtedly one of the most influential players in MLB history. His name will forever be associated with some of the most memorable moments in the sport. Even with the controversy, Bonds is a reminder that baseball, like any other sport, is a combination of raw talent, hard work, and unique circumstances. His story is a reflection of the complexities of the game and the humanity of the athletes who play it. Barry Bonds also exemplifies the evolution of baseball over the decades. From changes in game strategies to advances in statistical analysis, he was at the forefront of these transformations. In the end, the story of Barry Bonds is about more than just numbers and records. It's about a player who challenged expectations, faced adversity, and in many ways, redefined what it means to be a legend in the sport. Bonds' career will always serve as a lesson in how pure talent can transcend any obstacle. He not only stood out in an era filled with formidable competitors, but he also withstood immense pressure, both on and off the field. The debate over his Hall of Fame eligibility often obscures the profound impact he had on baseball. Over the years, many experts have analyzed Bond's statistics to highlight how dominant he was at his peak. In addition to his home run records, he also led the league in on-base percentage, OBP, slugging percentage, and several other categories, demonstrating incomparable mastery at the plate. Beyond the statistics, Bond's charisma, combined with his ability to entertain fans, contributed to the rise of MLB as one of the most lucrative and popular leagues in the world. Even as a polarizing figure, he drew crowds, taking baseball to new levels of audience. An interesting aspect of Bonds was how studious he was about the game. During interviews, teammates and coaches mentioned his ability to predict pitchers' movements. He used this intelligence to anticipate pitches and adjust his strategy at the plate. Although controversies overshadowed part of his career, they also sparked important discussions about ethics in sports, the role of banned substances, and the pressure culture around performance. Bonds became a central figure in these debates, and his story helped shape the modern MLB's policies on doping tests and the league's approach to players' legacies. In retrospect, many analysts point out that Bonds' impact cannot be reduced merely to controversies. His batting ability was so evident that, even without the inflated numbers from the alleged steroid use, he would still have been one of the greatest players in history. Compared to other sports icons, Barry Bonds is often placed in a category of his own. Not only did he surpass the physical limits of the game, but he also faced the challenge of navigating an era marked by intense media coverage and public scrutiny. Barry Bonds also represents the complexity of professional sports in the 21st century. While fans want to celebrate the achievements of their heroes, they also want these accomplishments to be free of doubts. Bonds is, in a way, a symbol of this conflict. After his retirement, Bonds explored other aspects of his life and career. He spent time as a hitting coach for the Miami Marlins and continued to share his expertise with young players, showing that his passion for baseball goes far beyond his days as an athlete. Many current players mention Bonds as an inspiration. His meticulous approach to the game, combined with his determination, serves as an example for those seeking to achieve excellence in their own careers. However, the stigma surrounding Bonds remains an obstacle in his trajectory. Even with his impressive numbers, he continues to be an example of how an athlete's legacy can be shaped not only by what is done on the field, but also by perceptions of it. The debate over Bonds' inclusion in the Hall of Fame raises broader questions about how the history of baseball should be told. Many argue that, regardless of the controversies, it is impossible to ignore Bonds' influence on the sport. His fans point out that the use of banned substances was, in many cases, a widespread practice in the era in which he played. Bonds simply stood out in a system that was already rooted in the MLB culture, they say. For others, however, the mere fact that there are doubts about the legitimacy of his records is enough to prevent his inclusion in the Hall of Fame. This divergence of opinions reflects the complexity of his figure and the impact he had on how the sport is evaluated. Bonds also played a significant role in the narrative of race and sports in the United States. As an African American who reached the peak in a league historically dominated by white players, he faced unique challenges and helped pave the way for the next generation of black athletes. Bonds' impact in San Francisco goes beyond what he did on the field. He helped transform the Giants into a globally recognized franchise and brought pride to the city, becoming a local icon. Even with the criticism, Barry Bonds is an example of what sports can represent: overcoming obstacles, raw talent, and, yes, imperfection. He is a reminder that even the greatest athletes are human, subject to flaws and contradictions. Looking ahead, Barry Bonds will likely continue to be a polarizing figure, but also an immortal legend. His impact transcends the numbers, representing an era, a philosophy of the game, and an eternal debate about what it means to be great in sports. Ultimately, the story of Barry Bonds is a study of contrasts. He was both adored and criticized, venerated and vilified. However, these contrasts are part of what makes him such a fascinating figure. Young players who grew up watching Barry Bonds know that he redefined what was possible in baseball. He raised the level of expectation for everyone who came after him. Through his achievements and controversies, Bonds left an indelible mark on the MLB. His name will be remembered not only for his numbers, but also for the cultural and sporting impact he had. Barry Bonds is more than a player. He is a symbol of the unlimited possibilities of sports. His story serves as a lesson that success comes with complexities, and the true legacy of someone is defined by the impact they had on the world around them. The discussion about Barry Bonds will continue for decades, but one thing is certain. He will always be a fundamental part of baseball history, inspiring debates, admiration, and reflection. As we analyze Barry Bonds' career, it becomes clear that his trajectory reflects the complexities of the sport and the humanity surrounding it. On one hand, he is one of the brightest and most impactful figures in baseball history, an athlete who overcame limits, broke records, and defied the impossible. On the other, his story is intertwined with controversies that raise difficult questions about ethics, justice, and the impact of individual decisions on public perception. Throughout his career, Bonds was both revered and criticized, but his influence on baseball remains undeniable. Bonds redefined the concept of excellence in his position. His statistics are a testament to his unparalleled ability. 762 career home runs, 8 Gold Glove awards, and 7 MVP titles. These numbers are not just impressive, they are historic. Barry Bonds was not just a player, but a phenomenon who dominated the game in a way that few have before or since. He demonstrated patience waiting for the perfect pitch, intelligence in reading the game with surgical precision, and unparalleled strength that turned challenging pitches into legendary home runs. However, the controversy surrounding the use of banned substances continues to tarnish his reputation. The Balco scandal and doping allegations sparked a crucial debate about how records should be assessed in light of ethical infractions. This raised a bigger issue in the world of sports. To what extent should innate talent be separated from advantages gained artificially? Many fans feel that his accomplishments were tainted by these allegations, while others defend that he was already one of the best players before the suspicions even arose. This dilemma is reflected in Bonds' absence from the Baseball Hall of Fame, despite being statistically one of the greatest players in history. The Hall of Fame is a celebration of sporting legacy, but also a reflection of the morality expected from athletes who reach the top. Bonds was repeatedly excluded from the vote, creating a clear division between those who believe his greatness should transcend the controversies and those who consider the doping allegations an insurmountable barrier. Despite everything, Barry Bonds' influence goes beyond statistics and records. He inspired generations of players to rethink the game, challenge the limits of what's possible, and explore new ways to stand out. He changed the way pitchers face powerful hitters, ushering in a new era of defensive strategies. Bonds wasn't just a player. He was a landmark in the evolution of baseball, forcing both teams and fans to adapt to his unique impact on the field. In the end, the story of Barry Bonds is a portrait of the sport in its rawest form, a mix of glory, controversy, inspiration, and humanity. He was an athlete who, like all of us, had his flaws, but also possessed extraordinary talent and unmatched determination. The debate about his legacy may never reach a definitive conclusion, but one thing is certain. Barry Bonds will always be remembered as one of the most iconic and polarizing figures in baseball history. If you like this video, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel for more fascinating content, and activate the notification bell. And don't forget to leave your comment. In conclusion, Barry Bonds embodies the best and most challenging aspects of sports. He showed that greatness is never simple and that the greatest heroes often have the most complicated stories. For better or worse, he will always be remembered as one of the most iconic figures in baseball. Until the next journey, dear baseball lovers,